Good morning. My name is Bashir Fancy, and I'm here on behalf of BT Pack Business, Biztek Professionals Association of Canada, that we launched recently, part of ICCP. I am very fortunate today that I have a very special guest with us, Milos Kosic of Edward Jones, that you will see in a second. In fact, he's on the right of your screen at the bottom, but he'll be in the center in a second. Uh, and the reason for that is that there's been turmoil in the marketplace in many different places. We're working from home. Um, People's life savings, RSP, are getting hit. So we're not here to sell you anything or to give advice on what investing you do. However, Edward Jones, and in particular, actually, Milos is here to talk about what is going on so he can answer some of your questions and explain that to you. So, with that, let me welcome Milos.
Good morning, Bashir. Thank you so much for having me and looking forward to answering the questions.
So, as I said, this is Biztek Professional Association of Canada, BT PAC, and we're part of ICCP, and then Milos is the advisor at Edward Jones, and very sensible person, very grounded. So he can take it from here.
No problem, Bashir. Well, first of all, thank you for creating the Biztek organization. I think it's going to help a lot of professionals in the different industries. To be honest with you, if we didn't have technology today, we wouldn't be able to talk to our clients, including my assistants in the office and myself. Physically, we cannot meet people. So we now need technology more than ever to function just as a bare minimum to be able to see our clients, do WebEx, do different meetings. And again, technology is probably the most important part of our society right now. So while Bashir is bringing the slides, so I just wanted to touch base. There's a couple of things that that I wanted to share with everybody as the office. In Mississauga with a lot of clients that have questions daily, pretty much about what's happening with the markets, what's happening with the stock market, bond market, with our retirement planning, what's happening with with RSPs. So I'm here today just to answer some basic questions about what's happening and what can we look forward to, knowing that everything is on standstill. So one of the most important things that people always overlook when something happens dramatically in the market is, what is my long-term goal? What is that I'm trying to achieve, through planning? And a lot of times people neglect their goals to focus on a short-term environment and what's happening in the markets. It's called, there is a slide that I wanted to share with you. It's called Market Cycle of Emotions, and how people react to different market environments. So we have a lot of things happen. If you see euphoria, it's probably by the end of, in the beginning of this year and the end of last year, where people are very excited about markets. Markets were all-time high. A lot of good news are coming from unemployment, the lowest of all time in the United States. Canada was doing great. And, all of a sudden this virus happens, and then what happens? The markets start dropping, and people start neglecting their long-term goals and focusing, or short-term goals, or any goals that they have, and focusing on just the losses that are occurring on the market. So I want to show the slide where it says, this is great, I should invest more, which is probably by the end of last year. And then once everything started, bad news coming from China, people moved to, the market started dropping, and then there is spread in Italy, spread around the world. It says, it's okay, I'm a long-term investor, I can deal with this. And then there is a point in a portfolio where people start, feeling fear and saying, oh, I don't know, maybe this time is different. Maybe I should, maybe I should surrender, which is on the bottom screen, and say, okay, let me get out of this and, wait to see what's going to happen, and then enter the market again. When that happens, there is a lot of times people make mistake and trying to time the market, which I strongly advise against it. You should spend more time in the market, not timing the market. That way will crystallize of what the performance that your long-term goal needs to achieve, and that way you can stay focused, on a goal-oriented investing. Once everything reaches the bottom, people start feeling a little bit more optimism and started, either, hopefully we will see that coming soon as we're all cramped up in the houses with the children. There is a lot of uncertainties around if the kids will go back to school, when it is all going to end, when we're going to get our jobs back. So there's a lot of uncertainties. So people don't want to make, a lot of decisions. They're just trying to save the vital organs pretty much, and hopefully, this will get back to normal. And what I would advise, and everybody in this kind of environment to think with their clear head and focus on, on the long-term goals. And there is another thing that is very, very important now is the next slide, which is about budgeting. So when environment comes where people are looking at, pretty much the bare essentials, I've shared with you guys monthly spending plan worksheet that you guys can, Bashir, you can share it with people. They can
Sure.
see it, and they can start budgeting to see what's the most important things and how much will cost them a month. Think about those of your household as a small corporation. You have income coming, you have expenses coming. So the budgeting is the most vital thing right now when the markets are where they are. So I would like to just share, if you guys can spend a couple of minutes with your family and, put all the expenses on a paper, see how much income is coming, and what are some of the miscellaneous things and things that you can actually improve and try to incorporate in your budget, or try to cut some of the expenses that are unnecessary in this moment. So that's pretty much bottom line what I wanted to share with you. Is there any questions that you might have that you think it will benefit the viewers?
It's what you have in the budget, which I do understand. Excuse me. Is that the budgeting? There are two parts there. You got necessary and discretionary. So you got the incomes, as you quite rightly point out, and the amount of taxes you pay, and then what net you got. So that includes your housing, mortgage, utilities, other necessities, insurance, and so forth, and any loans. So now at the end of the day, you left with some money. Now, if I understood you correctly, what you're saying when you invest the money, you keep some into liquid type asset, which is savings account or bond that's cashable or whatever. So you don't get stuck into a situation where you need the money tomorrow. If you need the money tomorrow, you don't have the money to invest. You can
Absolutely.
save, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have savings account. You got it Tangerine or whatever, and you're getting 3%. Because the other thing I heard, and I'm trying to recap, is that when you do this budgets, right, you understand exactly what your needs are, right? Because you understand that my needs are so many dollars a month, and my needs in 10 years, 20 years are going to be X number of dollars a month. You will look at your Canada pension plan and other pensions that you might get from a company, which, depending if you continue to work there, that industry is safe and the company you're working for is safe. Otherwise, you have to make sure that you're making plans that has a backup plan. So this budgeting then becomes very critical. Too many people are going from hand to mouth, not necessarily their fault. If there is things expensive or they're not getting paid well or whatever, it's difficult. But nevertheless, you can only play with the cards you have in your hand. So what you just said, right? So what you're explaining, this becomes very important.
Absolutely.
And this, by the way, is true of a company like you pointed out that operate like a corporation, is because in a company also does the planning and budgeting. Otherwise, they'll go bankrupt because you can't spend money you don't have. So that was very interesting. Now, right, go ahead. Yeah.
So I'm just wanted to add about the budgeting as well. I, always advising my clients to keep about 3 to 6 months of their expenses aside. So, if you're spending, let's say, $3,000 a month, for next 3 to 6 months, that's the amount of money that you should have put aside in a cash account or in a savings account, whichever you like. That way, when things like this happen, you don't have to be selling your investments that are for your long-term goals to be able to, you know, to finance your short-term needs. So it's always good to have extra money put aside so you can actually go through this, you know, and not jeopardize your long-term plans. And to do this, the first thing you do is pretty much just what we talked about, is budgeting. You know, incorporate in your budget a couple of $100 a month in the future that you're going to be saving towards, God forbid, or the days that it came, you know, it just happened to us. So three things from this meeting pretty much is, you know, market volatility, stay focused on your long-term goals. Second thing is budgeting. See what's the most important expenses you need to focus on right now to keep your family and your household in order, and cut unnecessary expenses, which now we have no problem with that because there's not much we can do now. You can't go for a dinner or anything like that. So this can actually be a very positive thing. So to work on your budgeting, and you know, it's probably more than ever is now important to understand where your financial, you know, your household financial health is. So you know, if there is anything else that you would like me to share, Bashir.
So I got the slide on the screen where we talk about, is it just the markets or how people are reacting is contributing? You just explained that the emotions, that's why this presentation is about emotional resilience, which is to kind of basically say, don't react emotionally, go with facts, right? And always do facts. This is true of business and technology. That's why this is so important, that when you behave in a certain way, whether you're in the office in technology or they're in business, you don't change it, because when you're investing, you continue to operate the same way, which means get the information, get the facts, and then look at now. There's a couple of examples I wanted to ask. And so the market. So I go invest in a bond. Now the maturity date is 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, and I know it's a reliable company. The market value will drop. Like what's going on right now, I even personally hold investment that have taken a bath. But even things that should not be impacted are impacted in terms of the valuation. But it only becomes a loss if I go sell it. If I hang on to it, I will continue to get my dividends, and when it matures in 2-3 years time, I'll get my full money back. Because
and that's
right.
That's exactly what I was talking about when I said, you know, if budgeting and having 3 to 6 months of your available assets for you to keep you afloat during this time, so you don't have to be selling investments in a wrong time, which is right now. A lot of people are fearful what's going to happen, and let me liquidate it, go in cash, and decided to, you know, to go into, you know, time the market and let's wait until everything is passed and then I'm going to get into the markets. Or I need to sell that bond that you just talked about to fund my expenses for next 3-4 months. So there is a lot of planning and a lot of planning, and I can say a lot of discipline is involved in investing and planning. A lot of people start it and they don't keep to their goals and in the long term. So what I would advise to that is, when you're holding a very good quality companies in your portfolios, you have nothing to worry about if you review it with your advisor and you see, okay, this is what we hold and this is the companies that we hold in our portfolios and what we think is going to happen to those companies. That way you kind of understand what you have in your portfolio, so you don't panic more than if you hold something that you're not really sure about what's happening. So that can also help keep you at ease of what's happening around you, so you don't make irrational decisions. That's another point that we can add to this slide of being in a fear and surrendering your investments in the wrong time.
So the last part, because we're going to invite members out there, people watching this, to send in their questions, and we'll get you back to answer very specific questions. At the moment, it's a very high-level general thing. But one of the other things was that trouble starts in anything, in a business, in technology, in investing, is if you know your needs, and then you go invest on those bases, and like you said, keep 6 months at least available, so you can go to that cash and don't have to sell yours. Because I know a couple of people who told me, and I was shocked, that they sold their shares, whatever investment they were holding, in order to be able to get their groceries and stuff in the last couple of weeks that I'm talking about. And that
Mm-hmm.
was quite upsetting to me in that I know these people they're very good people, and but what had happened is they'd invested. So I asked him. I'm not a financial broker, a finance guy for sure, but not. So I asked them, and they said they invested because they thought they were going to get 14% and 15%, and I was quite uh, surprised at the person who said that to me, which means greed got them to make a bad decision. So in this case, it was not emotional, but it was the greed. And so
Mm-hmm.
when they do that and they don't have the capability to hold on, so again, it comes back to your budgets, right? That you talked about is
Absolutely.
right. B is very disciplined about your budget. So you don't invest money if you don't have that thing. Keep it in cash so you can do that. But I think that is some very good advice, basically, in that A, what is happening in the market. So the market is going down because people are fearful. Companies are closed at the moment, right? Nobody's working. People have been laid off. Um, and so if you're an airline, for example, you would have taken a fairly hefty loss. I don't think people have seen that because
Right.
it will materialize as people will see it in the next quarter, right?
Absolutely. And when you have the economy like this, where pretty much everything is standstill, you a lot of times people get caught up in choosing picking winners, right? It's very hard to choose who will get out of this, unarmed. I think everybody will struggle to get out of this, but that's why it's important to have diversified portfolios in different industries. Um, that way you don't have to take unnecessary risk into one industry. You can have, would I rather have 10 companies in five different industries or have 10 companies in one industry? Obviously I would choose more industries. That way we don't know which one might come out faster out of this recession that is most likely to happen. So there's lots to consider. I would say my number one priority that I share with my clients and I share with the people around me is just start budgeting for your family. You can use that simple one pager that I sent to you, that you can present it to your members and just say, you know what, guys, just print this out, make a simple budget about your family, and start seeing what's the most important and what is not, and start from there.
So thanks very much, Milos. What we will do
Problem.
is I will send that out to people. So just to end this, basically, and the purpose of doing this thing is so that there's no confusion. We're not telling you from BT Pack or myself or anybody is to go invest here or there or whatever. Just giving you the lay of land of what is happening in the marketplace, and we are here to answer some of your questions. We can help you because we believe everything translates: discipline, budgeting, planning, execution, whether you're business, whether you're technology. Just like Milos explained, you don't run around and buy technology because everybody else is buying it, right? You do it because that is something you need and you
Absolutely.
have thought through. So we will bring him back to answer your questions. Now his number is on the thing, also on the slide that you will see, and I really ask our members to if there's any questions, send it, and we'll get any of your questions answered. Of course, we're going to answer your technology and business questions. This we thought was relevant given what is going on right now, and a lot of people are panicking about what is happening. Will they have money left? So this is what general high level saying that if you hang tight, hopefully
Absolutely.
good things will happen. Um, but we may be new normal. So thanks,
Absolutely.
right? Thank you, Milos.
Thank you, Bashir, for having me. And one last sentence I would say to people: own a very good quality investments and stay long-term invested and work on your budget.
And don't take too many risks when you don't have to, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's greed that gets you into trouble. So I appreciate
Absolutely.
that very much. Milos will
Thank you so
be
much for having
talking
me.
with my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay,
All the
bye.
best.